I'm here with John C. McGinley for Stand Against Evil. And before we get started, I just have to say one of my favorite movies to this day is still Nothing to Lose. So thank you for your contribution to that.
Nice. I got my nose pierced for that. I was in Ireland, and I'd gotten the gig, and I was roaming around in Northern Ireland, in Bushmills, Northern Ireland, where they make the whiskey. And I got the phone call that I got the gig, and I decided, what am I going to do with this guy? And so I went into Belfast, and I got a bull ring put in my nose. And then when I got to the first read-through, Marty Bregman was the producer who produced all of Al Pacino's movies, all of Alan Alda's movies, and one of the great producers of all time. And he looked at me, and he always had a burner, and he was just this old producer. And he says, "Mac, what's in your nose?" And I go, "Well, I thought for the character it'd be great to have a ring." And he goes, "No, you got to take it out." And I go, "I can't. It'll be infected. It has to stay in for 6 months." And he goes, and so I played this bluff. It could have taken it out, but
Sure.
I go, "I'm sorry, Mr. Bregman, but it will get infected." And he goes, "You actors, all right, keep it in. But this is crazy." And I was just like,
yes. Scored. Took the gamble and won.
Totally.
So Stan is a very gruff exterior, somewhat heart of gold type guy, and this is not necessarily new ground. You have some other characters that have that kind of same personality trait. Do you think people see that in you personally, or just see maybe you've played a character like that and associate you with that?
I don't do well. Patience isn't my best virtue, and I don't suffer fools well. But then I also am deeply entrenched in the special needs community. And so when I see typical people, which is the politically correct word for people without challenges, clinical challenges, and they act the jackass, I can't process them, because people in our special needs community who weren't blessed with maybe the same hand that a typical person was, they're struggling with stuff, and you're wasting the brain power you have. And so I have a prejudice against people who were born with all their gifts intact and they don't exercise them, because I feel like, and it's completely irrational, but I feel like, wow, there are people in our special needs community who could have used some of your brain cells, and you're doing that with those. And so I get torn between those two, and I'm torn between my compassion for people with challenges with my prejudice against people who waste the gifts they were given. And so sometimes I bring that to different characters.
So is that, since you get to play characters like that, does that become like an emotional catharsis for you in a way?
No, no. When you go to our conferences, and we have a congress up in Sacramento this week, a special needs congress for the National Down Syndrome community. There's your catharsis.
Yeah. So Stan is, like we said, very to the point, very direct, and you work with a very small cast. Are you one of those actors that can leave it on the stage, and as soon as the scene is done, you're done too?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Look, Stan's a damaged guy. He's wounded, and I thought that was the key in to last year. I mean, when we first meet him, he's lost his wife of 27 years. He's been fired from his job of 28 years because he beat up a woman who he saw as a witch, which is arguably insane. And so and he lost his wife, which is the only thing he really cares about. And so the key into Stan was exploring his damages and the fact that he is wounded. And I think we forgive people when we acknowledge their wounds. If someone's acting a jackass, but we know they lost their brother in Baghdad, we might give that person a little extra leeway.
Sure.
And so Stan is damaged. He's hurt. And not that you have to do the woe is me, but it's interesting when we can explore people's wounds.
When you started your acting career, was comedy the goal? Or, because you've done a broader amount of things, but was comedy the one that you were more focused on, or did it just kind of flow that way?
I was a waiter for 7 years, going to NYU at the same time, and I just wanted to not be a waiter anymore.
Yeah.
And so, I did a soap. I did Another World for 3 years, and then I shipped off and did Platoon. And because Platoon, we only got scale plus 10. When I got back, I wanted to be on Another World, where you're getting $816 a week, which is much more than we're getting on Platoon. And so I just wanted to pay the bills as a storyteller. I asked Pacino I asked Al why he wanted to be an actor, because we were doing Any Given Sunday together, and then we did a Broadway play together, and he just always told me, I always wanted to be a storyteller. And me too.
Yeah.
From early on, I wanted to be a storyteller. So whatever that looked like, that's what I wanted to do.
Well, thank you for telling the stories in the way that you do.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
All the best.
Thank you.